IBRT audio drama with fantastic animated images that help tell the story. You can see stories from Frozen Frights, The Rack, Mystery on the Air, and more. Just head on over to YouTube and search for the Icebox Radio Theater, not to be confused with the Icebox Radio Workshop channel, which is run here in International Falls. It's radio now with pictures. But don't worry, Victor doesn't change a single line or sound effect in the audio. He just makes them better. That's the Icebox Radio Theater on YouTube. Check it out today by searching for the Icebox Radio Theater. Yes, indeed. It is the Icebox Radio Theater, and it is another edition of the CRISPR. This is your news, information, and whatnot podcast coming from the Icebox of the Nation, International Falls, Minnesota. I'm your host, the guy, the artistic director. You also get to see me mix the show live as we go by. I'm Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us. This is, I already said that, this is CRISPR number 695 for December the 7th, the date that will live in infamy, 2025. Oh my goodness, what a show that we have today. We have so much going on, including, I'm just remembering now, an email that I want to read, as well as some metrics, and we're going to talk a little bit about the coming week, the coming month here on the IBRT. But of course, what everyone tuned in for, including James from New Jersey, who just hit the comments. Thank you so much, James. Which incidentally, if you're listening to this feature as a podcast, or if you're watching the video after the fact, we do this live at 4:30 most every Sunday afternoon, pretty much every Sunday afternoon. Who am I kidding? And you can come in now and you can say hello, as did James. Let me check real quick. Yeah, James said hello. Thank you so much, James. But this edition of the CRISPR is going to be dominated by apparently two things. One, my fatigue, and two, the reason for my fatigue, and that is Icebox Radio just created, or just broadcast, our own version of A Christmas Carol last night from the John Faith Little Theater in International Falls. I'll tell you all about it in just a bit, but let's start with this popular feature, especially for those of you like my good friend Ken in Hawaii, who won't believe people live here, because there is Skycam 1 as the sun sets. Oh, wow, it's peeking right through, or it's reflecting off of the bell at St. Thomas. You can see that little orange spot. That is actually the sun as it peeks behind the horizon, hitting the bell in the bell tower. 2 above is the temperature currently. And I should probably check it, because as the sun goes down, it's going to be a lot less than 2. We are in the throes of winter. It is December. It is Christmas time. Of course we are. It's cold right now, and it's going to be a little warmer the next week, because we're looking at snow all next week. Let me just say I'm very happy that I'm done with the show, almost done with the show, because it's difficult getting to and from in poor weather. Of course, I am going to be hauling stuff away yesterday. Anyway, so let's go through those things. I want to mention correspondence, but I'm actually going to hold that until we get to talking about the Christmas Carol and the live show. Let's check out our, there we go. Let's check out our metrics for the week. Twitter followers stayed the same at 673. We gained 3 Facebook followers. 937 is the current total. A single Instagram person joined the bandwagon, I should say, 312 there, up from 311. Still 63 wonderful patrons, 40 fantastic members. And the streaming radio station saw a little jump, which I attribute to the live broadcast. 674 unique listeners this past week. That's up from 631. And our countries visited were 81, which is up 10 from the week before. Listener events of 30 seconds or less, 91.2%, pretty much holding serve over last week, which was 91.6%. The top 3 countries by minutes. Again, Russia has completely disappeared from the podium, actually from the top 10. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe they're running out of electricity because they've been fighting this pointless war. USA, Germany, and Canada coming in. And for the first time in quite a while, I'm very happy to report a week of solid gain in the podcast field. I give full credit to Rum Runner Sue. 36,772 subscribers currently across all of our podcasts. Up quite a bit, up from 29,745 last week. Okay, So it's Sunday, and the sun is setting, and we had a show last night, and the show was wonderful in a sense. No, not in a sense. Realistically, we did Gift of the Magi and a couple of short comedy pieces, as well as, of course, the main event was the Christmas Carol. And we had a wonderful crowd. I kind of knew going into this that people here locally were going to be enthusiastic about this production, because a couple of months ago I asked Douglas Screef, Dr. Graves himself, for Radio Icebox fans and Mystery on the Air fans. He hasn't done a whole lot with us in the last 2 years or so, but previous to that, he was a staple behind the microphone. Wonderful, wonderful man. And I asked Douglas, would you play Scrooge? And he said, oh, that sounds like fun. And indeed, it was fun. I did something, I thought about this because we of course streamed it live on YouTube. So for those of you watching on video, let me bring up the screen cap I made of our stream, I should say. Ken from Hawaii pointed out that some of the lights are poorly placed, I should say. That's just a little reading lamp, but that's how the camera read it. For those of you just listening on audio only of the CRISPR, there is this bright, shiny, kind of looks like a ghost, actually, just shining in the middle of the screen. But in this picture, we see Karen Schickel and Dalton Johnson. In the center there is Douglas, and then Linnea Yunt next to him. Next to him in the background there, it's Tom Bement and also Justin Kapla, with me in the foreground. This particular show, I actually set up and did sound effects on the floor in front of the stage, because if you've never seen the John Faith Little Theater, it's a little theater. It's a little theater. It's got a nice stage. It's got a nice deep stage, but side to side, not that many great. I was going to say not that much space to work with, and oh my goodness, what a wonderful evening it was. It was cold. It was about 2 degrees, or no, I'm sorry, -3 when we started the show. Yet people came out. We had a house of about 34, I think we ended up with. And those people all bared the weather to come down to this cozy little basement and watch this wonderful radio show with live sound effects, the clanking chains of Jacob Marley, as well as an absolutely wonderful performance by Douglas Screef. He just did a fantastic job, so much class, and I know he put a lot of time into it, because we did rehearse all last week, and I saw him, coming in and going over his lines again and again, even though it was radio, even though he had a script right before him. It was, I think, a fantastic performance. In addition to the people I just mentioned, Carice Ataani, was also in the cast. Linnea's dad, Jim, of course, Jim Yunt, always a big part of our shows. I'm so happy to see him there. And I'm always, when it got this big, I was pretty sure I was going to forget somebody, and I think I probably just did. But of course, the show will be coming out not too much longer. We're looking at probably Christmas time, I think, is what we originally said as the time. What to say about this show? It was a landmark for the theater, because the first live performance we ever did before an audience was A Christmas Carol back in 2004 at the Covenant Church here in town. We'd already done a couple of plays on radio station KXBR, because that's how IBRT started. It started out as an actual radio theater at a radio station, just performing live plays over the air. And a friend of mine at the church said, hey, we're doing a Christmas evening dinner and whatnot. Would you like to provide the entertainment? And I had been in a production of Christmas Carol back in Oregon, and asked that it was at a college, it was at Western Oregon University, and I asked, could I possibly use the music for a radio version of this same story? And they said, fine. And then I did sort of what they did with their version, which is go into Charles Dickens' text and just take big gobs of it and knit it together with, the Scotch tape level verbiage that I could come up with on my own. And that's how we ended up with our production of Christmas Carol. It's I hope, very, very close and very faithful to the original. The story. We all know the story. I've actually seen 2 versions of the story so far this Christmas. In fact, a friend of mine was at the show last night. If you can believe this, he said he loves Christmas Carol, but he'd never seen the Muppets. Who can imagine such a thing? How do you love Christmas Carol and never see the Muppets? Oh, we got a whole bunch of other people checking in. Eric is listening from California. Hello, Eric. Hope it's sunny there. Probably is because it's 2 hours earlier. As is Steve from Eugene, Oregon. Oh yeah, James. James in New Jersey says, "I hope to listen. I missed the live stream." James, if you're a member or patron, Gift to the Magi plus the shorts will be out on as a podcast, I should say. Will be out on Thursday of this week. And then, of course, the Christmas Carol will be out as a podcast on the 25th. In addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and make the video stream from which you just saw the screen cap. For those of you watching online, there's that screen cap again. Going to make this whole show live for everybody. Right now, it's just for the people who bought online tickets. Thank you to them, by the way. This was a very well-received play. Even online, 6 people bought tickets for it. And I think we have about that many that watched live. So that's exciting. Exciting to me is, especially as it gets this cold and you start thinking about how can I be creative and have fun, indoors without leaving the house. And this, we'll have to see if we set up do a show in the next few months at the John Faith Little Theater. But I still like the idea of doing live broadcasts from here. We've never done. Actually, I guess we have actually done one live video from here. I should stop talking and get back on topic. Part of the topics, wanted to check in with Ken from Hawaii, who actually wrote yesterday, -3, are you kidding? Oh, yeah, that's right. I referenced Ken in my introduction to the broadcast, where I told people that everyone listens from around the country, or not everyone. A lot of people do. The important people do. The right people do. And Ken from Hawaii said, -3, are you kidding? That kind of cold is not for humans. Well, so says you. But we don't have bugs most of the year. Just polar bears. All right. Show was great. The only things were the 2 lights that were pointed at the camera. Actually, the crazy thing, Ken, they weren't actually pointed at the camera, but it's a cheap camera and it only takes 1 light level. And with everything being so dark in the room, it just cued to that. There's probably a way to fix this. I think the way to fix this is spend money on a better camera. But then Ken does conclude, thank the cast and yourself for a good rendition of that piece. Indeed. And there was several other comments that came our way. From various folks online who really seem to enjoy the work. So let's see. I talked about the cast. Everyone worked so hard. And Douglas especially held it all together because he was our main narrator in Gift of the Magi as well. The crowd was responsive and I think excited to be there. They were effusive with their praise afterwards. It does tend to be a little warm in that room. It was not. It was about right because it was 3 below outside. So a cozy basement, even full people, was really very nice. Once again, Claire Layton, who is a recent transplant to town from Georgia, so pray for her. This is Justin's girlfriend that moved up from Georgia. She took care of our engineering duties once again and did a fantastic job. I cannot tell you how great it is for me, if I have anything else going on, to be able to turn over some of the technical work to somebody else. Because not only did she do the sound mixing, which I think sounded pretty good in the room, but also took over just monitoring the stream. And other than we did a slight little glitch that we left the pre-show logo up a little bit too long. Other than that, checking both the radio stream and the video stream, the audio on those recordings sound fantastic. And when I got the recordings home, everything, the multi-track recording that we do at the show, everything there looks fantastic. So I'll be able to remix and what have you. And if I get the time, I might want to go ahead and remix and add the mixed audio to that YouTube video so that when it goes live on the 25th of December, everyone could enjoy a slightly better mix. Because I've always said, and sound guys, real sound guys, I'll say this too, you really, really cannot mix for a room like a live venue and for a recording very well simultaneously. You kind of need 2 people. The best way to do that is to have 2 people, is to have someone mixing for the room and someone else mixing for the recording. And Claire did an admirable job attempting to do both. But we're gonna fault to the room. The room has to sound good because those people paid money to be there. And thank you again to each and every individual. Let's see. I mentioned Ken, and I mentioned who else? Must check my notes. Mentioned Doug. Cast in general was fantastic. Oh, I almost forgot. We had another visit. This is great. Craig, formerly from St. Paul. Craig from St. Paul has been a supporter of the theater. I'm going to go at least 15 years. He and I met at Convergence, the con that the family used to go to every year several years ago. It could be 15. It might just be 10. But Ken's no longer from St. Paul. He's now from a place called Sycamore, Illinois. And this is the second year in a row he drove up all the way in one go. And I was going to check my phone because I asked him, please, text me when you get in, because he does this. I think it's like 10 hours that he drove up last night, came to the show, took a bunch of pictures. He said I should ask him to send me those because that'd be good. And then turned around and drove back this morning after we went out for breakfast. And Craig's doing fine. I think I might have called him a Ken a minute ago. It's Craig from St. Paul, now Craig from Sycamore. And he was just so wonderful to see him again and to catch up. And it was kind of an old home week. And he said we did pretty good too. So what are you going to do? That's A Christmas Carol. That is our big Christmas show. I realized since August we've done 4 live shows. And this was the year I was supposed to be slowing down. Well, what are you going to do? Because I know we wanted to do Halloween and Christmas, and then the whole thing in Los Angeles in August came up. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have changed a step. Everything about this show went just about as good as it possibly could. I admit I was a little concerned about the energy level of everybody going into the performance, but man, they got in front of that crowd that was laughing, that was getting the jokes of the comedy commercials and was enjoying themselves, and everyone just lit up. Everyone just came to life. Wanted to give special kudos to Justin. Justin did a fantastic job as both ghosts and other parts as well. But he was both Jacob Marley and Christmas Future. I say ghosts, scary ghosts. Ghosts with chains and black shrouds and things like that. I never felt like Christmas Present or Christmas Past were all that scary. Tom Bement played Christmas Present and Linnea Yunt plays Christmas Past, which is good because I felt like she was being typecast both here and at the community theater in town as little boys. And yes, she did do the voice for Tiny Tim, but he only had the one line, which he said twice. God bless us, everyone. Just overall a fantastic, fantastic show. And everybody can hear it on Christmas Day. I will make sure that goes live then. Kind of dominated the news this time and kind of dominated my week. I'm not done yet, I should say. I took the afternoon off this afternoon. This afternoon I came in from church and just kind of chilled and even took a nap because I woke up early this morning and couldn't get back to sleep. But I will be heading over to take down the equipment, but I'm not going to haul it home today. I think that's probably a bridge too far because, as you might tell, I'm rambling a bit and somewhat logy. So I think just taking things down with maybe a podcast in my ears sounds really, really nice. But the 11th is our next big drop date. That's when you'll be getting both Gift of the Magi and the 2 funny commercials that we had from this past show. They are called the Northline Christmas Album. We sing. That's right. Did we sing successfully? Well, you be the judge. I have my opinions. Poor crew. I should have worked them a lot harder. I should have let them rehearse a lot more, but I didn't. So we'll see. But then the other one is a promo for a show coming soon to Radio Icebox. Not really. It's a joke. But coming soon to Radio Icebox, Danny the Delinquent Deer. Maybe it's Daryl the Delinquent. It is. It's Daryl the Delinquent Deer on Radio Icebox. Oh, man. What a wonderful show. What a wonderful way to close out the live shows for the year, which turned out to be more than I thought. Because I think, let's see, we had, in the wintertime, we just had Mystery at the John Faith Little Theater. Then we had our first production at the Coffee. We had 2 productions at the Coffee Landing Radio Hour. We were in the park again this summer. And we were in the, of course, we were in the John Faith Little Theater for both Halloween, Dracula, and Christmas, A Christmas Carol. Want to thank again, just point out the big house and the big success that we had. I think a lot of that credit goes to Douglas Screef, who is very well known in town. He's done theater and music and art here forever, and is about the closest thing we have, I think, to a local celebrity, and certainly the closest thing we have to a local celebrity at the IBRT. And I was somewhat mercenary. I said, if Doug played Scrooge, people would probably want to see that. And I was right. And we can all see it coming up on the 25th of December. So Christmas is coming, and I should let you at least know a little bit about 2026 at the IBRT. There's a lot to talk about there, and I won't spend too much time now. But partially because I haven't decided it all, I kind of need to get thinking about 2026 as we move forward. But I am looking forward to a fantastic year, and I am hoping that all of you stay with us, because I think it's going to be an exciting time. I think it's going to be a time where we can look for a lot of more radio drama. But I will be, as I think I've mentioned, I will be splitting my time a bit because I'm taking over as editor of Radiogram magazine, or I guess it's a newsletter. It would have been a newsletter 10 years ago, but you see this magazine now, and it's a magazine. It's a 2-color, like 16-page magazine. There are daily papers that are doing less in major cities. But I'll be taking the next couple of months to learn how to do the graphic design program, and also learn how to put together a magazine again, which I haven't really done since college. So that might take up a little bit of time, especially the first couple of months of the year. But don't worry, I'm not retiring from Icebox, and I do have plans, big plans actually, for live shows. And if we learned anything about doing this project, doing this theater over the last 20 years, it's that stuff always comes up. Opportunities always present themselves. And it's just been so much fun to continue doing this, and we will continue doing this. And I look forward to doing a lot more live shows for you, and also studio work very, very soon. Probably not to the scale of Christmas Carol with the live sound effects and the huge cast and the Christmas lights and everything else. What can I say? It's been a fantastic year. And I'm just going to take a little bit more time to think about that before talking about it more. And thank you so much for everyone that tuned in to watch live today. Because even though the lighting in here is not great, it is a fun thing I love doing every Sunday, is talking to you about the Icebox Radio Theater. And make sure that if you have any questions or comments, iceboxradio51, iceboxradio51@gmail.com. So until next time, this is Jeff saying thanks for the download and reminding you to keep listening. Happy holidays, everybody. I'll see you next week.